So this week in Mel's Mekshop, we're going to have a crack at making some Orky Glyphs for a Goth's banner pole. So this is the dread. This is cut and shut it, my two Goth death dreads. As you can see, I've got a steel rod in there and he needs some glyphs just to finish him off, make him look the part. Yeah, so he is a Goth death dread with all claws, so he's pretty brutal. So I want to make him a nice banner pole, nice glyph, just to, you know, announce over the battlefield who he is, so you can see him from afar. So I'm going to have a quick look in this old codex, and there's some runes and stuff in here and glyphs in here, and we'll see if we can find the ones we need. There you can see a whole page of Ork Glyphs, which is sadly missing from the newer codex, the 9th edition codex. I know these have changed over the years and got very, you know, confused, but these are ones I'm sort of going to run by. So here you can see here, look, the boss, the clenched fist, which is quite good. But what do we need for a death dread? Quite like the bone glyph here. Gull, death, bone, skull, rocks, white, yeah, maybe. Mech, oh, built by Buzzgob, death dread. Mechanical, so maybe a spanner. Clever, technological, mechanical, yeah, that could be one there. Can, like Dreadnought, thimble, but I think it's pretty obvious what he is, but that might be good. I always love the Zog, go away, get lost, no good. That could be pretty cool. Tough, old and ancient, yeah, possible as well. So I think for this glyph on this, we'll go with Goth, so it'll be warlike, spiky metal black knight, yeah, warlike because he's obviously a Goth, so we'll go to Goth, Mech, clever, and then the can, Dreadnought symbol. So I think we'll go Goth, Mech, can. And just found this in the old 4th edition codex. There's another page of Orky Glyphs here, and a lot of them are the same, but there's actually a bit more in the old, which was what, the 6th or 7th edition codex. But yeah, so we've got Goth, which is still there, got to be using that one, that's for sure. And then Mech, the clever, yeah, got to be using that one. So yeah, I think we'll stick with that. But it's quite interesting here, they got the full, like the alphabet in Orky Glyphs here, and then the numbers, which is in the other codex as well. So that could be quite cool for a future thing, bit of graffiti. You can actually write out a message in Orky Glyphs. So that's pretty cool. So I might come back to that. But for now, I'm going to grab some plastic card and then we'll cut out our glyphs. I'll show you how I do that. So I've got a sheet of plastic card, 1.5mm thick, this stuff. I've had a few bits off it first already, but yeah, so I'll just trim this down a little bit so it's a bit more manageable and get it on camera, and then we'll mark up the glyphs and get them cut out, and I'll show you how I'll weather them up, and then we'll paint them up and stick them on the banner pole and cut it. You see, you don't actually have to cut all the way through. It's better to make multiple small passes and then just snap it. I'm going to weather up all the edges anyway, so it's not too important. I've not squared it off or anything, don't need to worry about that. So I'm just going to grab a smaller cutting mat there, and then we'll mark them up. Here you can see on this glyph, I try and use the edge of the card for some straight edges. A few less cuts to make, makes it a bit easier and a bit quicker. So that's all the glyphs marked out with the mechanical pencil. Now time to just cut them out. As you can see, like I said before, don't always cut all the way through, just sort of score it up and then just snap them out. Then you just trim up any of the excess bits after you snapped them out. This is where you're supposed to weather it up, but I completely ballsed that bit up and forgot. So I did it a bit later, once they're all super glued in place, which made it bloody difficult. But if you weather them now, it's a lot easier. Nice little tip for cutting circles out of plastic card here as well. Just get the point of your craft knife in the middle of the circle you want to cut, and then just twist it round and then sort of bore out the circle, which worked perfectly for the eye on this glyph. So that's it, 3 glyphs all cut out. Can, Mech and Goth. Lovely. Now this is the point where I said earlier you should weather them up, but again I didn't do that. So imagine I've weathered them up now and not got overexcited and completely forgotten to do it. Yeah, great tutorial, Clint. I then just grabbed a small piece of plastic tube to insert the metal rod in, gluing it to the back of the glyphs, and then I could insert the metal rod in the back to act as the banner pole. So as you can see here, I glue the plastic tube just at a slight angle on the back of the glyph. So when I insert the metal rod for the banner pole into the tube, the spanner will be at a slight angle and not perfectly horizontal. Et voila! It was at this point I realised I didn't want all the glyphs sitting one on top of the other, and I decided I wanted the Goth glyph and the Can glyph side by side, so I just had to make a sort of supporting brace across the back. And also the head of the Can glyph couldn't just float in mid-air, could it? So I had to do a couple of supports to keep the head attached to the jaw of the Can glyph. So I cut a suitable length of plastic card that fit across the back as a brace, then super glued another bit of that plastic tube to the back of that, and then glued the brace to the back of the glyphs. With the brace done and holding the 2 glyphs in place, I then got a tiny piece of plastic card and cut some little tiny squares to act as rivets on the back. And then glued them in place, using my craft knife to position them carefully. After the rivets were all done, I then super glued the rod into the plastic tube, using bicarbonate soda to reinforce it. Also added a bit of super glue and bicarb to the sides of the plastic tube on the back of the glyph to make it look like it was kind of welded, a bit corroded, and also to reinforce it a little bit and strengthen it. With that was the build part done. Just time for a quick test fit on the back of cut. Lovely, perfect fit, looks great. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh yeah. This is when it dawned on me I hadn't done the weathering. So, just a quick bit of weathering. So I basically just took to the edge of each glyph with my craft knife, just chipping away little bits and scraping a bit here and there. I think it really adds to the final finish. But, like I said earlier, a lot easier if you do it before you glue them all to the actual pole. Plonker. Okay, and we've got them all primed up, so I'm just going to put that to one side, let them dry, and we'll see where we're at. After that we'll get some painting done. So started off with a quick stipple paint of Vallejo Air Rust. Then just got a bit of pluck foam and sponge painted on some all-fan grey, straight over the rust. Then did exactly the same with some Evil Sunz Scarlet over the spanner. Then sponged a bit more Evil Sunz Scarlet over the head of the can glyph as well, just to break it up a bit. A little bit of retouching with some lead belcher. Then before the paint was fully dry, I went over it with some sharp tweezers, just sort of scratched off the top layer of paint to reveal some of that rusty metal underneath. Makes for some nice looking weathering, I think. Then went around the edge of each white glyph, sponging on some Mornfan brown for some chipping base work. Also went round all the red parts with Abaddon black, same effect, just on the edges with a sponge. Then went round with my favourite paint, some Typhus Corrosion. Same effect with a sponge, all round the edges, a little bit in the middle, just for that bit of corrosion look. As it happens, I slightly overdid it with the Typhus Corrosion on the sponge, went back in, touched it up with a brush, and then just touched in some of the colours with the brush over the top. Oh, and here I am, sponging on the Abaddon black just over the red parts. I later go over it with a sponge with lead belcher, so it gives a bit of depth to the chipping. Put a darker colour underneath, then stipple over the lead belcher, or you can paint it on if you like. Like this. And that just about wraps it up. Orky Glyph banner pole done. Lovely. Goth, can, mech. Boom. That should look nice on the back of the dread, shouldn't it? Let's have a look. I think that's about it for this one, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial stroke video. If you did, maybe give the video a like and consider subscribing for more Orky builds. And don't forget, guys, you can always come and check out some more Orky goodness over on the 40k Ork community on Facebook and Discord. Links in the description below. Pop along, come and say hi. Pick the brains of some real Orky mechs. Thanks very much for watching, and catch you on the next one, guys.